They're a lot more hands-on, practical than sometimes we think. We have one goal, and that is to get our students jobs.
Mm.
And we understand that in order to get our students jobs, that theory doesn't cut it alone. And so we want to teach them how to think. We want to give them theory, but
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, it's a different type of episode because I have one of my good buddies and my co-host for our new podcast. You probably heard me talk a little bit about. It's Sales 101, the B2B Sales Classroom. And we have Dr. BJ Allen in the hizzy. Dr. BJ Allen, welcome to the show.
Donald, what an honor to be on the Sales Evangelist Podcast, the most famous sales podcast out there in the world that I've been telling people about forever, and now I get to be on it, finally.
I didn't tell him to say that. It was just, it's just the truth.
I've been begging Donald to have me on this thing, and he's been, hey, BJ, you're not good enough. But now I finally arrived.
He's arrived. Now, listen, if this is your first time listening to this podcast and you agree with everything that BJ says, please subscribe and tell someone else about the show. And the show is designed two things. One, to be able to help sales professionals build pipeline, and two, to help them be able to accelerate deals to their pipeline. And now, sales leaders and sales reps who are listening to the show, we have a unique thing. BJ and I have this other podcast that we are launching, and I think you should check it out. Sales 101, we have a link down in the show notes. But it's all around the next generation of sellers. I've done adjunct professor at Brigham Young University. BJ oversees the sales program at Brigham Young University, and he's done a lot of sales competitions and work with hundreds, a couple thousand, and thousands of students. I'm going to say that. Maybe the numbers aren't right, but it's a podcast. I can make it up. But it's my show.
Probably trillions, actually.
Trillions. All right, we're going to get called back on that one now. But the point, though, is he's helped so many sales people, and one of the things that we saw is that there's a lot that we can still do to help prepare sales professionals for you as you're recruiting sellers, or so they can be more effective. And as I'm teaching sales teams, I'm seeing things that college students, if they're coming into the game, should be prepared with. So BJ and I, this podcast, we interview college professors and industry experts to help college professors who are teaching the next generation of sellers. And we are learning some amazing things that they're doing in preparing the next generation. So we want to take a few minutes in this episode and to tell you about some of the things that we are gathering from some of the guests that we've interviewed, and some of the interesting things some of the best colleges in the country are doing that are developing sales programs. The first one, BJ, I did not know so many universities are taking advantage of professional selling or incorporating it. Talk to me about that, about your experience being in the industry, but in this education space, but also what are some of the things that surprised you when it comes to when you first started going to competition and just discovering how these programs are designed?
Yeah. So what's so interesting about this world, Donald, is that, 20 years ago, the sales didn't really exist at universities outside of a handful of schools. Mm-hmm. And I did a presentation a couple years ago at a university teaching conference, and I talked about the kind of just the explosion of sales programs. And when you look at all the sales programs in the United States, about 50% of those started within the last 20 years.
Wow,
50%. Think about that explosion. It's just crazy. And so a lot of sales executives are just starting to kind of learn about it. And this happens all the time here in Utah, where I'm at with Brigham Young University, is we'll get a call or an email from a major sales organization here, and they'll say, hey, I didn't know that BYU had one, and I don't blame them for not knowing, because it's very new. But this type of thing happens all the time. And so if you're a listener, you're a sales executive, you're a sales leader, you probably have an amazing pipeline in your backyard that you probably don't know about.
Yeah.
Because the university is brand new. And what also makes these sales programs so unique is not just they're an awesome pipeline for talent, but that they're teaching sales skills at a rigorous university level.
Mm.
So you are getting students or recently graduated students who come in knowing the sales process. They know how to prospect, they know discovery calls, they're trained in Challenger, in Spin, in Medic, and they know how to use CRM softwares, HubSpot, Salesforce. Like they're so well equipped. Now, of course, they don't have like the degree of the hard knocks that come from the streets, but a lot of them do have internships and sales. Um, and like they're ripe and they're ready for you to train them and going to all these sales competitions. Me and Donald, we have a couple sales textbooks that are used in over 100 universities. Like we live in this world every day, and if there's one thing I'm learning, it's that universities are doing a fabulous job of training sales students to just hit their ground running when they get their first job after graduation.
You know, the cool thing I like about this too, BJ, from a lot of the professors that we've interviewed, it's they're giving them a lot of real world experiences. There is one that we did a prep call with, and he talked about how I think it was him as a guy, but he talked about no, this was a lady. She talked about how her students worked with a local theater company, and this theater company was looking for they were looking for more like the graduate program students, and she said, I don't have the graduate program, but we have a sales department that we just started for our undergrad. And she took them and it's like, okay, well, let's have them do some research. So they did the research and they came back with, listen, theater company, you're trying to generate revenue. You should do sponsorship. And then they pitched this company on them doing the cold outreach
Yeah.
and booking like sponsorship. And they literally did it. And then they helped, it wasn't like crazy money, but you have a small semester, like what, 14 weeks. But they helped them to gain $1,000 in sponsorship money. But it was $1,000 more dollars than what they had, but it validated to that organization that we can do this. And they already had a right picking of salespeople that know how to do it already. And that's what I love about it is that if you're doing accounting, they have to go for an internship to be able to do that, to get accounting skills. If they're doing marketing, they have to go do some marketing project for a company to be able to do so. In these classes, they're getting real world experience, which I think goes back to validate your point. They're way more equipped, and I would venture to say, than any other salespeople that they might pick up, because they're not only getting the book smarts, they're getting learning from industry leaders, from guest lecturers, and they're getting practice. Am I off on that?
I think you're spot on, Donald. I mean, and I love that kind of trifecta that you pointed out. Like they're getting the education, but so many times, like sometimes, well, let's just say sometimes, like university education gets a bad rap because they think you're just learning theory, like you're just
Yeah.
learning, marketing theory or the theory of how things work. But like business schools and universities wide, like they're a lot more hands-on practical than sometimes we think.
Yeah.
And we have one goal, and that is to get our students jobs.
Mm.
And we understand that in order to get our students jobs, that theory doesn't cut it alone. And so we want to teach them how to think. We want to give them theory, but every class period is about hands-on learning.
Yeah.
We do role plays every day. We have a simulation the students use. They do discovery calls, they do phone prospecting. And when I talk to sales executives and I tell them these things, they're like, wait, what? Students, your students learn how to do email prospecting? Like they learn like nitty-gritty stuff? I say, yeah, like we teach them how to do LinkedIn prospecting, what to say, how to connect, how to do research, how to ask questions. We give them phone scripts, they practice phone scripts, they practice video emails. I mean, like this isn't just, oh, like let's learn, spin selling techniques. This is, hey, like let's learn how to do the things you're going to do on your very first day of the job. And it makes a huge difference. And it's so fun to have students come back and say, like, your class was interesting and it was applicable, but I didn't really appreciate it until I got my first job.
Yeah.
And, the other people in my cohort were like, I don't really know what to say. I don't know how to personalize this phone script the company gave me. And everyone's like, yeah, I just went to my notes from your class and like then I had a script that was awesome. And so there's just a ton of value in that. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what you're alluding to, Donald.
There's a clip I want to play when it comes to role play. One of the episodes that we did recently, where one of the professor talked about how he incorporated role play and then also specifically AI with his students.
How do I convince them that they don't need it? Well, I design assignments where I load AI with data, or I allow, obviously, AI to do its thing and go grab data to answer questions of students in a bot to student role play. The student's the seller, the chat GPT is the bot, and they're the buyer. And the student must ask the appropriate questions of the bot to get enough data to put together a presentation. I take half
Okay.
my students, and that's their scenario. I then have a placebo. I have another set of students that get to use both a human interaction and a bot. And then the third set of students work with a buyer, a designated buyer, either me or a few of my guests who come to class, and the students set up appointments and they spend 15 minutes with a buyer and they learn all that they can from the buyer by asking questions. If the student doesn't ask the specifically proper question of the bot, they don't get the right information to put together the optimal proposal. In group
Mm-hmm.
3, where it's just a human being, they get more information because the human being actually works as a partner with them and actually can tend to lend information that is not even asked because the trust is built there and they feel a sense of partnership and collaboration with the seller. Now, the third group gets both the bot and the human being. They actually have the optimal proposals, and I can prove to them who worked with the bot, who worked with the student, and then who had both. And we rank the grades of the proposals, and the combination generally always win. So I do that once, then I let them switch. Then the scenario 2, which is a different cell scenario, they play a different role. And then I do it a third time. And in each and every case, the student that got the combination does better than when they were
Mm-hmm.
solo with the bot or solo with the human. And so I convinced them that if you use chat as a tool, you'll be best. I also show them that working with the human being typically is second best. And then the bot, while sometimes it can be a win, it comes in third place. So I have to be careful, though, that that's the result. And I have to be careful also not to pre-engineer the results, or the students will think I'm manipulating.
BJ, what I love about the concept that Barry's going at, he's definitely a role play guy, but also the AI concept, because that's one that brings up over and over and over again, is how we can utilize AI. And I think that's a good transition. So he's role playing with the students, but he's also incorporating AI. What are some of the things that you are seeing in the college space when it comes to AI and to help salespeople?
Yeah, so I mean, with the advent of analytical AI and generative AI, I mean, it's changing universities world, across the board. It's certainly changing the work we're doing in business school, but because like business school is such a practical, human-centered education, I would say like it hasn't really disrupted us as much because we're not having students write papers like Gen AI can't
Yeah.
sell something for you. But what's been really cool is just to integrate that stuff to really just I would say efficiently operationalize some of the things that that you can't do. So in that very clip, Ray's talking about how using AI to aid in your research, and then you think about how you're going to personalize that research for your prospect. So like in our sales class, that's what we do. So first I have them research somebody, and I think, okay, how can you personalize your outreach based on the research you did? And then I show them some kind of chat GPT prompts that they could use to get very similar information. But then now that they save time because ChatGPT did that, now they really have a chance to even more personalize their outreach and think about the different value that they offer with their product and how they can use their research to encounter that. So that's just kind of one example. But then we could go into the even, a lot more advanced stuff with how we teach students to use AI
Yeah.
to increase their efficiency during the call, right? Some of Gong's really cool AI features that help salespeople analyze their discovery calls. I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff these students are using, and these companies, these sales executives, they love it because the students come in, they know so much about technology, and they're helping some of the old school sellers to learn how to use AI to become more efficient.
There, yeah, front lines with it. They're speaking about Gong. One of your students in your class, Austin, I think it was Austin. No, it's Joseph Wood.
Joseph Wood, yeah.
Joseph, he told me in our conversing with him in preparation for one of the episodes for Sales 101, he said that the way that he loved the class, learned a lot, but the thing that took him to the next level was, one, you guys had a sales society that he had to take part in, or he took part in after school, which got him connected to a local entrepreneur, and he was able, or a startup, and then he was able to get a job instantly because of his sales experience. And then two, the fact that he was taking the principles from that and also the online things you taught him in class, and he was able to land a job with Gong. And I was like, this is dope. He was probably so much further ahead than the average SDR or BDR Gong because of all the knowledge that he had. So kudos, man. The stuff that you're sharing, the clubs that you guys have, it works. And I think that's another place where people miss the ball, especially executives at major companies. I mean, BJ told you it's like a right for the picking. BJ, we'll wrap up here. I want you to talk about, if you can drop some of the names of the sponsors that you have for your sales program at Brigham Young, and how they are getting ripe talent from you guys. You hinted on it a little bit earlier, but I want you to give us a little bit more in depth on that and how this could be a lucrative opportunity for many other recruiters and sales leaders looking for top talent.
We have companies who said that they would never recruit at the college level, right? They would say, oh, we need, even our entry levels, they need 3 to 5 years experience and such, and then I'm like, just come, right? Just come meet our students, just come interact with them, see them in the sales competitions, and it'll change your mind. And that's exactly what happens, right? So we have what we call, like at BYU, we have what we call our core mentor companies. Other companies, they're or other universities, they may be sponsors of their sales programs. I mean, but we're talking like big tech companies, Qualtrics, Bill, AWS, Microsoft, Paycom. We have
Give Adobe as well.
no.
Not yet. Okay, not yet. Adobe, you're listening to this? Sponsor.
Yeah. We have medical cells, Alta Medical Specialists. We have Boston Scientific, which is like kind of the Cadillac of
Dang, these small companies you're talking about, BJ?
Yeah, and these are, some of these are companies that thought like, nah, like I'll never recruit at the university level. It just doesn't make sense because we have thousands of applicants for every opening. Like, why would I need to come here and recruit and build organic relationships with students? But then when they come here and they see, they change their minds.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a win-win for everyone. So, I would say, like, if you're a sales executive or you're in HR, you're in recruiting, like, it's a huge missed opportunity because, as Donald talked about, they have skills, they've learned a lot of things, they understand technology and AI, but they don't come with a lot of preconceived and this is how things are supposed to be done. They're very teachable. They're very hardworking, and they're just excited. I mean, there's nothing more no more energetic than a new college student who just graduated, who's like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to start their sales career, right? Like these are like the prime people that you want at your company.
I absolutely love this. Listen, we would love for you to check out the podcast that we're launching. As you know, I love sales, and we've been running TSE and running the sales organization here for a while. We feel that this is next territory that we want to be able to help professors so that they can in turn produce top talent for you all. So if you want to check out that podcast, it's Sales 101, the B2B Sales Classroom. You can find a link down below, and it's going live on all the platforms where you can get podcasts. BJ, give us a last little, give them a last little reason why they should come and listen to Sales 101 with us.
The answer is really easy. Donald's there. And, Donald is the leader in the sales, knowledgeable, everything. So you should listen to him. I'm also I'm not as good looking as Donald. My voice isn't as nice, but I'm also there, so that's a secondary reason to come. And then a third reason would be because we have a lot of top professors, top sales, top sales universities that are just spitting out knowledge all over the place on our podcast. The episodes are short. I think you'll find it really, really interesting.
So you should check it out. Come on to Sales 101. We have a link down below. We appreciate you and would love to have you come and subscribe. As always, we want you to thrive. We want you to succeed. We want you to close more deals and accelerate deals through the pipeline a little bit faster. But most importantly, we want you to raise the level of thinking and go out and do big things. See you on the next one.